Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Dare to Dream. We're going to learn Geography of Class 8 from MBoSE syllabus. Today we are going to start with Chapter 2, that is Land, Soil and Water. The first subtopic under this chapter is Land Resource. Land is one of the most important gifts of nature for the growth of life and development of human civilization. Now, what is land? It is a solid portion of the surface of the earth. Only 29% of the earth's surface is land, as you can see in the diagram below. In this, out of the total portion of this earth, we have got only 29% of land, and the rest is 71% is water. So that means we have got a very limited portion of land and we have to use it very carefully. Now, land use of the land. Land is used for different purposes by human beings. In fact, for almost all the activities are being done in land. That is farming, grazing cattle, then mining of different minerals, building roads and railways, industries, houses, etc. So land is being used for different purposes. The next topic under land resource is factors affecting land use. What are the factors that affects the use of land? The first one is slope of the land. Slope जिसको हिंदी में कहते हैं ढलान. Slope of the land is a deciding factor in the use of land. Now, how slope decides the use of land? For example, in hilly areas, the land is used for different purposes. It is difficult to set up various industries in hilly areas because it has got the slopes. Whereas in plains areas, the land is used for other purposes, many other purposes. Whereas in plains areas, the type of agriculture that is being followed is different from the type of agriculture that is being practiced in hilly areas. In hilly areas, mainly because of the slope, jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation is used, whereas in plains areas, shifting cultivation cannot be used because the type of land is flat. It has got a flat surface. So slope of land is a deciding factor for land use. Second is the presence or absence of soil cover. So the soil cover means the topsoil. As we all know, topsoil is very much useful, very much needed for the growth of crops. It is fertile. It has got a vast amount of minerals in it, which are good for the growth of crops. So in any plot of land, if the topsoil is lacking, or that means the minerals and organic matters are lacking, so in that plot of land, agriculture practices or farming will not be possible. So in this way, the presence or absence of soil cover decides how land can be used. Third is the availability of surface or underground water. Now in this point, surface water means the water that is available in rivers, ponds, lakes, and underground water is the water that is present under the ground. So water is a very important deciding factor for the use of land. The place which lacks water, or the place where there is acute crisis of water, in that place farming is not possible, growth of crops is not possible, then industries which needs water, the growth of industries is also not possible. In that way, the presence of surface or underground water decides land use. Next is prevailing climatic conditions. The places where which has a very hot climate, in those places farming will be difficult, because the heat will not allow the crops to grow, and the soil over there, the land over there in the hot areas will lack moisture. So on the other hand, even the very cold regions also will not allow farming. Farming is possible, or farming is possible only is possible in moderate climates where there is neither too much heat nor too much cold. Moreover, the growth of industries, houses, etc., all those things also depends on climatic conditions. Next point is nature of rocks and minerals present in them. So the plot of land where the rocks are hard enough, are very hard, or the plot of land where there is a lack of minerals, in those plots of land agricultural practices will not be done, or may be very difficult to do, because minerals are needed for the growth of crops, and the nature of rocks, if the nature of rocks also depends, also decides what kind of agriculture practices can be done, or whether it will be possible to move towards the agricultural practices in that plot of land. So rocks and minerals present in the land decides how the land can be used. If the land lacks minerals, or if the land has very hard quality of rocks, then maybe the industries can be developed in those plots of land, but not agricultural practices can be done. Sixth point is level of technology available. The level of technology available in some places decides how land is used. If for example, in rural areas where technology is not developed to that extent, no matter if the land has got a very good quality, because of technology the land will not be used for multiple purposes. Lack of machineries, lack of proper technology available there, all these factors affects the use of land. Whereas in places where technology is well developed, in those places even farming will also be well developed, because the people can use technology, or the people can use advanced methods of farming in those places. Point number 7 is the quality and quantity of manpower. The manpower is one of the most important deciding factor on how land has to be used. The quantity of manpower means the population in that particular place. So if the population is less and if the plot of land is bigger, then the land will not be used to that extent, because to manage a huge plot of land we need quantity of manpower means we need a good quantity, good population of people. Secondly, quality of manpower. Quality here means skilled or unskilled manpower. So if the manpower, if the population is skilled, if the population has got the ability or capability or maybe the qualifications, then they can use the land for various purposes. For example, if an industry is built in that plot of land, and if if there is skilled labor, then the skilled labor will increase the productivity of that industry. Or on the other hand, if agricultural practices are being done in that plot of land, if farming is being done in that plot of land, then skilled labor can use advanced method of farming, whereas unskilled labor or those people who do not have proper and advanced knowledge of agriculture, what they will use the traditional methods of farming. So in that way, the quantity, that is the population, and quality, that is the skill of manpower, decides how land can be used. Point number 8 is economic value of the land. Economic value of the land means the price of the land, or the price of the land. So if the economic value of the land is less, then there will be lesser use of that land, because more economic value means more growth of business, and lesser economic value of the land means lesser growth of the business. So in that way, economic value of land decides the use of land. The next topic under this land resources is the types of lands based on ownership. So what are the types of land based on ownership? Based on ownership, we have got two main types. The first one is private land. What is private land? It is owned by an individual. In villages, private land is used for growing crops and for other activities like running a small-scale manufacturing unit or building a house, whereas the community land is owned by the whole society. So in villages, the community lands are used for keeping haystacks. Haystacks means जो गांव में जो community lands होते हैं, वो इस्तेमाल किए जाते हैं जो सूखे घास होते हैं गाय बकरियों को खिलाने के लिए, वो उसको स्टैक करने के लिए कम्युनिटी लैंड का यूज़ किया जाता है. देन फॉर ग्रेजिंग एनिमल्स दैट वी इन हिंदी वी कॉल, गाय बकरियों को चढ़ाने के लिए जो लैंड होते हैं, so community land is used for that purpose in rural areas. In urban areas, community lands are used for recreational activities like parks, museums, etc. Now the next topic is conservation of land. As we have learned earlier that we have got only 29% of land for our use. So we need to use it properly, and we have to conserve or preserve that land so that the future generations can use that land. So how can we conserve that land? Let us have a look at it. We can conserve land through the following methods. First is afforestation. Afforestation means by planting more trees. What happens when we plant trees? The roots of the trees holds the soil firmly, and it makes the soil or the land porous. So when there is rainfall, the water seeps through the soil and increases the level of underground water. So in that way, by planting trees, we can hold more land, and we can also save water, because the level of underground water increases through plantation of more trees. Second is proper use of fertilizers and pesticides. So fertilizers and pesticides, these two things has got chemicals in it. So when we use fertilizers and pesticides in farming, in agriculture, if we use fertilizers or pesticides at a very extensive rate, or more than the recommended amount, then it spoils the quality of the land, and it induces various poisonous chemicals into the land, which is harmful for the land, and in the future the growth of crops will be lesser due to excessive use of fertilizers and pesticides. So we should use these things very carefully so that we can conserve the land for future use. Third method through which we can conserve land is regulated grazing. Grazing, as I have discussed earlier, is used for cattle in rural areas. So regulated grazing is very much essential to conserve the land. If land is used extensively for grazing, then the top layer of the soil, or the top layer of the soil gets spoiled, and it does not allow us to use land properly in future. So in these three ways, afforestation by planting more trees, and by limited use of fertilizers and limited use of land for grazing, we can conserve land for future use. We will continue with the topic in the next part of the video. Thank you for watching my video.